From truly horrifying slices of typically excessive gore, to the sight of genuine fear being plastered all over an unfortunate actor's face due to a legitimately unplanned development mid-scene. These are those Tarantino moments that have likely been frozen mid-watch, more than anything else in Quentin's bonkers back catalogue. Gareth here from WhatCulture.com, and here are the 10 most paused moments in Quentin Tarantino movies. Number 10. Hitler's face is obliterated. Inglourious Bastards. Quentin Tarantino's alternate take on the events of World War II that was Inglourious Bastards saw none other than Adolf Hitler himself being viciously gunned down in the middle of a movie theatre. And determined to deliver a moment of unfiltered catharsis for many in attendance when taking in the moment the bastards finally break into the opera box housing the Führer, Tarantino simply did not hold back, did he? After blasting onto the already burning scene, thanks to Marcel igniting some flammable film post-Shosanna's final message to the Nazi party leaders in attendance, Eli Roth's Sergeant Donnie Donowitz utterly blitzes Hitler and his cronies in the box. But in a moment that has no doubt been paused and rewound time and time again by the stunned folks taking in the feature at home, the Bear Jew refuses to let up until Hitler's face resembles a mustached pile of mashed potatoes. The frozen shot of a Hitler dummy with half its face blown off is about as surreal a frame as you're ever going to find in the routinely absurd world of Tarantino. But it's one that will likely never get old, no matter how many times you choose to hit pause and rewind again. Number 9. Zoe Bell didn't need no car chase stunt double. Death Proof. It's not uncommon for movie fans to bring a film to a screeching halt in a bid to see whether the star of the show is actually the one doing the ass-kicking or jaw-dropping stunt work in the picture. More often than not, said pausing of a thrilling action ride ultimately leads to the realization that an equally talented stunt double has actually been called upon to deliver the goods in a particularly dangerous or intricate scenario. Yet in the case of Death Proof, and the absolutely insane car chase sequence seen towards the back end of the movie, the stopping of the action mid-chaos brings with it confirmation that Zoe Bell is in fact an all-out legend and madwoman. Hilariously scoffing at the thought of a stunt double taking her place as Tarantino initially suggested, if it wasn't already clear during the utterly intense sequence involving Bell's character hanging onto the hood of a speeding car, whilst Kurt Russell's stuntman Mike rammed his own vehicle into the mix, a quick pause highlights that Zoe was very much clinging on for dear life in the scene. Admittedly, you'd expect nothing less from the fearless New Zealander, but it's still undeniably outrageous even by her standards. Number 8. O-REN ISHII loses her head in 5 minutes. Kill Bill Volume 1. For more than a few reasons, the moment O-REN ISHII ultimately falls victim to the bride's brilliance with a blade was enough to earn an immediate whacking of the pause button for all watching on. Hot on the heels of seeing off the crazy 88 with her sword crafted by Hattori Hanzo, Uma Thurman's leading light is informed by Lucy Liu's Yakuza leader that if she hasn't saved her energy, she likely wouldn't last 5 minutes against her in a duel. And what do you know, less than 5 minutes later, 4 minutes 59 seconds to be precise, ISHII is well and truly bested by the bride, proving her statement to be a rather unsettling piece of unexpected foreshadowing towards her own eventual fate. If trying to clock this wholly satisfying detail on a stopwatch wasn't enough of a reason to freeze the frame, a lingering shot on ISHII's severed skull the second it becomes clear the bride has defeated her one-time Deadly Viper colleague will likely do the trick. Combining a simply astounding technical detail with one of the most gruesome visuals the brutal Kill Bill volumes have to offer, this really is the pause that keeps on giving. Number 7. A rather revealing shower. Pulp Fiction. While most of the much-paused entries occupying this list fall into the category of compelling due to frankly insane visuals, unexpected reactions, or rather intriguing background imagery, the same cannot be said for the following piece, centered around some bits and pieces. I'm of course talking about that moment during Pulp Fiction when Bruce Willis's Butch Coolidge opts to freshen up a touch in the shower, only for a sudden shaking of his towel to send the world into meltdown for a second. There's really not an awful lot more to add to this sequence that goes down in the midst of the Golden Watch section of the Tarantino masterpiece. If you're desperate to catch the faintest of glimpses of Bruce's little Willis just after Butch's girlfriend Fabienne hands him a dry towel post-wash, then have at it. But if you'd rather just sit back and enjoy the rest of the totally masterful ride that is this Tarantino all-timer, then you likely wouldn't regret skipping a quick pause on Bruce's tackle on this occasion. Number 6. Salma Hayek slithers onto the scene from dusk till dawn. Again, it's not exactly surprising that more than a few horny film watchers have gone out of their way to stop the following scene in its tracks, only to rewind the seductive action before reliving the hip shaking all over again. And while it isn't technically a Tarantino-directed entry, From Dusk Till Dawn still sits as a feature with Quentin's fingertips all over it, what with the director forging the screenplay for Robert Rodriguez's unexpected vampire flick, and also starring alongside George Clooney in the action horror outing. But jumping back to the often paused sequence in question, the minute Salma Hayek's Santanico Pandemonium slithers slithers onto the strip club stage was enough to leave many with their jaws dangling off the floor for, well, obvious reasons. Along with the visual of HAYEK trying her best to cover up the fact that she was legitimately terrified of snakes during the dance that involved her boasting a live serpent, the entirely bizarre development of Tarantino's Richie and Santanico exchanging alcohol via foot and mouth waterfalls has likely led to more than a few perplexed pauses / rewinds over the years too. Between that and HAYEK suddenly transforming into a blood-sucking vampire shortly after, there's rarely a moment within this extended sequence that hasn't earned a pause out of sheer shock. Number 5. Background liquids foreshadow a turn, Reservoir Dogs. There's definitely no shortage of startling visuals on show over the course of Tarantino's gripping directorial debut, but it's one of the quieter moments in Reservoir Dogs that has likely found itself being frozen more than a few times for a closer look over the decades. At a number of points throughout the diamond heist gone terribly wrong, Mr. Orange actually being the undercover cop that set up the group is brilliantly yet subtly alluded to. One such occasion comes during the moment Mr. White and Mr. Pink unpack what went down during the botched robbery, and with the two suited thieves pacing around a room in the warehouse rendezvous point, it's easy to overlook the fact that some rather intriguing bottle colors are taking up space on a shelf behind them. A quick pause during the back and forth between Pink and White brings with it the superb realization of yet more Mr. Orange being the rat foreshadowing, with the pink and white bottles being clumped together and the orange ones very much being set apart. In other words, Orange ain't like all the rest. Number 4. A hands-on director, Inglourious Bastards. Returning to all things alternate World War II now, and to perhaps one of the most infamous occurrences to have gone down within a Tarantino picture to date, and that is saying something. During the scene that sees Diane Kruger's Bridget von Hammersmark being mercilessly choked to death by Christoph Waltz's chilling Hans Lander, the director would note to his actor that he wished to perform the strangling himself and for real, claiming to the star he's not going to do it right, it'll either be too much or too little. So after asking Kruger's permission and gaining it due to the actor completely trusting Tarantino, Quentin could very much be spotted legitimately strangling the life out of Kruger during the intense moments of ferocity between Lander and von Hammersmark. The shocking nature of the scene alone is enough to leave folks stunned into rewinding the sequence to check if what they actually just watched really went down. But the fact Tarantino's hands were the ones entirely wrapped around Kruger's neck during those brief shots of anguish has no doubt provoked a great many morbidly intrigued pauses of the sequence just to get a better look at the controversial action. Number 3. A closer look at divine intervention, Pulp Fiction. The Pulp Fiction scene that involves Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta's Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega, respectively, trying to retrieve a briefcase for their gangster boss has no doubt been replayed a freakish amount of times. But away from Winfield's epic quoting of the Bible, there's another moment buried in the thick of the rewatchable chaos that is very much worthy of a quick pause of the excellence. Moments after Winfield and Vega lay their vengeance upon Brett, a quick shot of the suited leading figures showcases a few oddly placed bullet holes in the wall behind them. Said shots would soon be put there by Brett's associate hiding in the bathroom, of course, with each and every blindly fired shot missing the duo, a miracle referred to as divine intervention by Jules. These stray holes in the wall being there before Brett's pal even unleashes them from his gun was likely little more than a standard continuity error, yet it's one that has most certainly been spotted and frozen in time for a quick, look at that, on countless occasions over the years. Number 2. A look of genuine fear after a priceless antique is smashed, The Hateful Eight. Finishing strong with two often paused beats of anything but acting being immortalized mid-Tarantino outing, the first of these unplanned occurrences involved a certain Jennifer Jason Leigh understandably losing her mind over her Hateful Eight co-star's unfortunate mistake. With Leigh's Daisy Domergue strumming out a tune on a guitar from the 1860s during one particular sequence, the scene would ultimately lead to Kurt Russell's John the Hangman Ruth bringing an abrupt end to the music and smashing the instrument to pieces. Yet with said Martin's 6-string guitar being a priceless artifact on loan from a museum, Leigh was under the impression that the valuable instruments would be swapped out for a dummy before the inevitable smashing. Nope. An oblivious Russell instead was allowed to swing for the fences with the precious strings. And that's what led to the genuinely horrified response from Leigh's Domergue in the scene, with the actors' "whoa, whoa, whoa" cries coming from a place of legit shock in the moment. Russell was said to have been mortified by the incident, but that still didn't stop Tarantino from using the stunning take in the finished article, or fans slapping the pause button on Leigh's entirely authentic visual trauma as seeing the gorgeous antique pulverized before her very eyes for that matter. Number 1. A smashing take, Django Unchained. Is there a more famous sequence of intense and mesmerizing improvisation out there than the sight of Leonardo DiCaprio fully embracing his bloody cock-up mid-scene, after slamming his hand down hard on the table countless times during the shooting of his compelling monologue as Calvin J. Candy to the likes of Jamie Foxx's Django Freeman and Christoph Waltz's Dr. King Schultz? One particular take saw DiCaprio move his hand ever so slightly in the wrong direction and collide with a crystal glass during his roar. Instead of halting the menacing dialogue and unsettling take though, the actor continued on with a split open hand. end. That eventually required stitches until the shot was in the can, and an eruption of applause soon met the dedicated performer's efforts. Trying to catch the exact moment DiCaprio realizes his hand is leaking for realsies is a joyous pausing game in itself, but the moment Candy opts to smear his blood all over the face of Kerry Washington's Broomhilda von Shaft has also doubtlessly led to a great many alarmed pauses of the surreal sequence too, with folks trying to figure out if that was DiCaprio's own legit red liquid being wiped into the mix. It wasn't, of course, with it later being confirmed that said blood was fake at that point, but that still takes nothing away from a wholly alarming big screen turn of events. And that's our list of any other often paused moments in Quentin Tarantino movies. Let us know all about them in the comments section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if you like this kind of thing, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more incredible articles just like the one this video you're watching right this second is based on. I've been Gareth from whatculture.com. Thank you as always for watching this fantastic video today. Hopefully I'll see you very, very soon, but hey, in the meantime, just be good to yourself. Bye bye!